So it's always nice to be on the winning side of an election. When your candidate wins, it's always a good feeling. But I'm not going to lie and say that I am not concerned about the reactions that some of the people are having, those who are pro Harris, anti Trump, that are really, really unhappy about the outcome of this election. Now, look, it's perfectly normal, obviously, to be disappointed about an election outcome. I certainly was 4 years ago. But the level that some people are taking this, and the reason why this is resonating with me and why I'm actually going as far as to make a whole video dedicated to this, is because I have people that I have been friends with that I've known for almost 20 years, since elementary school, that I see them making posts on Facebook and Instagram and all social media pretty much saying, like, yeah, if I find out that you voted for Trump, if you supported him, then I want nothing to do with you anymore. You're dead to me, and I hate you. Go fuck yourself, and a whole bunch of different things like that. And that really, like, that's just very powerful. Not in a positive way, but like it's like, wow, an entire friendship for all these years, you're willing to just throw out the window over a political disagreement. And it's not like Trump is this fringe candidate that is just he appeals to racist, misogynist, and like that's the thing that you constantly hear, right? Is that he's just this horrible racist white supremacist candidate, yet he has had the most amount of minority votes out of any Republican candidate in modern political history. I think the last Republican to get that got more votes, more percentage of the minority vote was probably Richard Nixon or Dwight Eisenhower, something like that. We're talking 50, 60, 70 years since we've seen these types of numbers for a Republican, okay? So think about that, okay? Instead of being in your echo chamber and just assuming, just dismissing anyone who you don't, who has different beliefs than you and supported a different candidate, how about you actually explore why that candidate got the votes and why your candidate lost and what you can do to help your party not lose anymore? Because the thing is, not only did people like me vote against Harris, but they also voted against people like you, against the actual people supporting Harris. Because some of the shit that you say is just so batshit insane that it's like I don't want to be on this side of the political spectrum. I don't want to be on this side of the election. No fucking way. So that's another thing there. It's just it's amazing to me. And I did see a lot of this in 2016. This feels like a lot more intense than that. The anger, the hatred, the just the overall vitriol seems a lot more, it seems a lot more dialed up compared to 2016 and 2020. And of course, I have this political channel, right? So I am not afraid to speak my political beliefs and to share that for anyone to see. But I no longer make political posts on Facebook or Instagram like on my personal pages like I used to back in the day, because it's, you know, when to fight your battles and when not to. By getting into it with people on Facebook, like all those horrible posts that I've seen about how Trump is gonna. I have a black coworker that legitimately believes that she's going to the cotton plantation because Trump won the election. I'm not even joking, right? So there's a lot of people that are scared, but it's not based off of facts. It's not based off reality. It's completely irrational. People have this irrational fear of Donald Trump that is not supported by reality, because we already had a Trump presidency. That's one thing to look at. Another thing is that the president can't just unilaterally decide, I'm going to throw all these people in jail, I'm going to lock all these people up, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It says a lot, because based off of the polling, talk about women's rights and Trump's going to take your uterus away from you and take away your rights. Trump, they did on abortion, 49 to 45. Who do you trust more on the issue of abortion? Harris got the 49, Trump 45. So if Trump was such this horrible radical person, on the issue of abortion, then why did the results come out the way they did? That's something that you guys need to kind of look into. Instead of just trying to demonize people further, you're just further alienating more people from ever being convinced into your way of thinking, right? Because I see people like that, and what I think is not like, oh my god, there's like pretty much most of the people in my friends list are saying this shit because I grew up in a very liberal left wing town, so that's not a surprise that most of my friends are liberal. But the shit that they're saying is just like so intense. Like, but the first thing I think in my head is not, oh, they're saying all these things. They're calling me a racist. They're calling me a sexist, and they're calling me all these horrible things, a Nazi, etc., etc. I have to take a look. I have to do some deep reflection, and I can't support Trump anymore. I have to. I should regret voting for Trump 3 times, and I need to change my ways. No, the first thing I think is that these people need to be fucking institutionalized, and that they really like have some fucking problems that they need to work out. I'm sorry, but holy fucking shit, I have never seen anything like this before. And again, I was around in 2016. I was around in 2020. This is just fucking scary. It really is scary. Like, I'm glad that Trump won. Don't get me wrong. I'm very glad that Trump won. And these people just acting immature, throwing temper tantrums. It is what it is. You knew it was going to happen, right? And I guess I should have expected it to be like on this level. But wow, wow. That seems to be like the popular sentiment among the Harris supporters is that, yeah, if you voted for Trump, then I want nothing to do with you anymore. I can't be your friend anymore. I can't just associate with you at all anymore. And it's like, okay, if you're going to say, like, I'm not going to openly, like I said, I'm not going to just post on Facebook, yay, Trump won, blah, it doesn't accomplish anything. It's just going to cause a shitstorm and a bunch of angry people in the comments that I just don't want to deal with, and I don't care, right? I just don't. Like, if people here on this platform have comments and they disagree with me or whatever, that's fine. But going at it with people who I actually know in real life, whether they're friends or relatives or even acquaintances, I just don't want to fucking spend time arguing with people, because what you learn over time, and I was naive when I was a lot younger. I thought if I made all these posts, these provocative pro-Trump posts, and I just debated and argued with people in the comment section nonstop, that I was going to turn some people over to the Trump side, because my logic was just way beyond. It was just, I was on the side of truth and logic, and they had nothing. They was just all, oh, Trump's racist because I say so, and not based off of anything in actuality. But what ends up happening is that you can argue all you want, you can have all the facts on your side all you want, and this goes on any issue with anything. No one's gonna ever be convinced. You're not one person watching this video, I can guarantee you, has had a political argument with someone. They've been on one side, right? On any issue, whether it's guns, abortion, the economy, anything else. No one has had an intense argument with someone where the other person disagrees with them and is just like, whether or not they're actually telling the truth or not, or the facts are true or not, they are definitely they're winning the argument pretty much, right? But no one's ever convinced you to change sides on an issue. I can guarantee you nobody watching this video has ever been like, oh, I'm anti-gun, but now after hearing this person talking about the Second Amendment and giving a compelling argument, I am now pro-gun, even though I was anti-gun before, right? It's never going to happen. People are just so wired, and they're in their echo chambers, and the election was a shock to them because everything that they saw was Harris is going to run away with this. I've even seen so many posts about how Texas is going to turn blue this time. And well, we all know what happened with the entire election, but Texas specifically, it surprised me. I predicted a Trump win, and I thought he was going to win, but him winning Texas by 14 points even shocked me. I thought it was going to be like 5 or 6 points. He fucking annihilated Harris. And I think the less people stick in their own bubble and only listen to things that they want to hear that affirm their own worldview, I think it's good to hear the other side. I spent a lot of time over the past few days not just listening to Fox News, not just watching them, not just watching Ben Shapiro, not just watching pro-Trump coverage of the election. I also watched Pod Save America. I also watched Kyle Kalinske. I also watched David Pakman. I also watched a whole bunch of other different left-wing perspectives. I also watched MSNBC and CNN for shits and giggles because, and The View because their reaction. Yeah, I did get a kick out of it, and I did get some entertainment value, especially Jimmy Kimmel crying, literally crying on stage. Over what? Whatever. But they genuinely think that Trump is this huge threat and that Trump is going to do all these horrible things to them. They genuinely believe it. So part of me, my first reaction isn't to go, ha, 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 ha. I mean, with Jimmy Kimmel, he's a fucking 50-something-year-old man, multimillionaire, and he's fucking sitting there crying over, I don't know what he's crying over. So people like that I can laugh at, but the average person, like, I made a point to not just instantly gloat that my candidate won and that their candidate lost. Like when I made the first video reacting to Trump's victory. That's not how I was in 2016. I was gloating, I was laughing, I was having a great time, making fun, and like all the liberal tears, I was having the time of my life. But now I'm just at the stage in my life where it is what it is. If Harris won the election, you know what I'd be doing right now? I would be completely tuned out from politics. I would be like, okay, what happened. There's nothing I could do about it. I can either live in panic and fucking cry and do whatever about the election, or I can just fucking tune it all out and do anything else, whether it's fucking playing games or doing whatever the fuck else, right? It's just so much better than just harping over this fucking election, right? It happened. Get over it is pretty much what I have to say to anyone who lost, who was on the Kamala side. But it is really disheartening, and I have lost friendships over the years. That's part of the reason also why I decided not to put any political posts during this election. I didn't put anything during 2020 as well because it just causes too much too much negativity in your life to get mixed up in politics with people that like. If someone asks me about my opinion, then it's fine. I'll give it to them. I'll give it to them straight. I'm not gonna hide, but there are some people though who I consider good friends that they've talked politics, and I didn't like pretend to be a Kamala supporter, but I also kind of just gave like a neutral, like gave neutral vibes towards it. Like they're talking about how great Kamala is and how she's gonna win and how horrible Trump is, and I'm just like, kind of like, okay, whatever. Like I'm not gonna engage in an argument. I'm not gonna be like, well, actually, she fucking sucks and she's one of the worst candidates ever. Like it's not gonna be like, the person's not gonna be like, oh, I support Trump now, right? But they're people who I'm really close with right now that are like, they just made a post the day after the election saying, yeah, I want nothing to do with you if you voted for Trump. And if I find out, so I'm just keeping my mouth shut. But if it happens, it happens. If the friendship ends over this shit, then the friendship ends. The party of love and tolerance is really showing their true colors today, though, over the past few days since Trump was declared the winner. And that's what they always talk about, tolerating people and loving people no matter what. Yeah. How's that going right now? It's just fucking sad. That's really what it is. That's really what it boils down to. But Trump derangement syndrome is real. It is 100% real. And I think there's some people who genuinely need some help. They really do. Because their entire life is politics. Their entire life is Donald Trump. Their entire life is just getting into it with everyone politically and only associating themselves with people who are on the same team. It's like it's like me being only associating with someone if they're a Buffalo Bills fan, right? Because it's like the same fucking mentality. It's like it's a sports like mentality. If you're against my team, then it's like it's like a fucking huge thing to them, and they take it personally. And there are a lot of sports fans where, like, if you're wearing a jersey from another team that they don't that they're against, like, let's say you're a fucking you're a Cowboys fan, right? You're wearing a Cowboys jersey in Philadelphia. There's a good chance, like, you could get fucking knocked the fuck out. I mean, it doesn't happen often, right? But there's a lot of or at the very least, you'll get a fucking confrontation. I've seen plenty of stuff on with that online, like videos of people wearing like jerseys from another team and they're visiting, to watch the game, and they're just getting harassed, they're getting threatened, all these different fucking things, and that's for sports, right? That's just a ball game. But then when you get to politics, people feel like their lives are at stake because these are like, political issues where different policies can have a different effect on your life. So the stakes are a lot higher and people take it on just on a crazy level. Like they take it like to the extreme. So I think there's a lot of people that need to do some deep reflection, not just about the Democratic Party on its own and what they can do, but what the actual Democratic Party supporters can do to not just make people be like, I want nothing to do with this and I want to stay the fuck away from it. Because the reaction that all of you fuckers have been making online, that all of you anti-Trump people have been making, all of your reactions, all your crying and your hate and your anger, is that convincing anybody to vote for you? Again, you guys are losers. You lost pretty convincingly. So instead of taking something from that, I mean, maybe that is this just like the election happened, it's raw, and they're just taking it all out and letting all their emotions get out, and then they're gonna try to do some self-reflect. I doubt it, because it's been 8 years of the same fucking shit, just going crazy over anything Donald Trump says or does, and automatically hating it no matter how good or bad it is. Like it could be a good thing, and they're gonna hate him no matter what, because they can never like accept that Trump is actually a pretty damn good president, and he will be a pretty good damn president. He's probably going to be even better. I think he will be even better, because he was kind of like, he was a good president but not a great president, like in terms of his like actual governing, because he had a lot of, he talked about draining the swamp, but he didn't actually drain the swamp really. But now it seems like he's going to, so we'll see. But he's definitely the best president in my lifetime, and the framing that people have is like, you care more about having a lower price of eggs than my human rights. And it's just what human rights have been violated, what human rights were violated from 2017 to 2021. There were a lot more human rights violations during the Biden administration with the whole vaccine mandate thing. That's objectively more like worse than anything Donald Trump has ever like done or even said. Treating fellow Americans as second-class citizens was perfectly fine for you guys. Me being unemployed and losing my job, which could have happened if Biden got what he wanted with the vaccine mandate and all these other different things, not being allowed to enter a restaurant, not being allowed to just live your life at all. You guys were okay with that. So I remember that. Even though it happened a couple years ago and things have gone back to normal since then, I remember that shit. So when you talk about human rights, people getting locked up, people's lives being destroyed, Joe Biden did a lot of that himself. Or at least attempted to do a lot of that himself. And you guys were fucking cheering for it. So I don't want to fucking hear nothing about that. I really don't. So it's just so frustrating to have. You can't have a conversation anymore. You can't. It's like, it feels like middle ground and finding some common ground and kind of at least having an understanding of each other is just so fucking gone now. It's just not there. There's no such thing as that. Everyone's just so dug in, and I guess you could say I'm dug in, but I'm willing to, like, if someone wants to talk to me and have a civil conversation, I'm willing to have that conversation. I'm not gonna say, because you supported Kamala, that you are like this horrible fucking human being or whatever, even if she won. Even if Trump lost. I wouldn't go that far. I think most people, the vast majority of people who believe whatever they believe, they feel like their heart is in the right place. They feel like they're doing the right thing and supporting the right things. And I think that, yeah, their hearts are for the most part in the right place. But then when they get into all this anger and hatred and all these other different things, it's fucking sad. That's really what it is. And I I just wish things were different in this country.